18 candidates are running in the 2025 University of Manitoba Students' Union general election to serve in an executive role. Voting is set for March 6th to the 7th. 3 students are contesting the position of President, Vice President University Affairs, Vice President External Affairs, and Vice President Finance and Operations, with 6 students vying to serve as Vice President Student Life. The Manitoban had the chance to interview each candidate and inquire about their qualifications, goals, and visions for the Students' Union. Each candidate was provided with the 6 interview questions ahead of time via email. So I'm here with Robert, who is one of the 3 presidential candidates in the upcoming Umsu annual general election. And so, Robert, we're asking each and every candidate 6 questions. And the first one is, for those that don't know you, describe yourself. Who are you? What are your passions? And what motivates you?
Yeah, well, I'm a fourth-year student in global political economy. I'm currently writing my undergrad thesis. Um, I'm very passionate about understanding, social change from below, and how ordinary people have tried to change the world. You know, Obviously because of that, I'm a man of the left. As for oh yeah, and I like playing guitar and reading. Those
Mhm.
are things I like to do in my spare time. As for motivations, I'm motivated by a lot of things: love for my fellow man, gaining a better understanding of the world, but most of all, it's a deep disdain for unfairness. I just can't sit idly by when I see people being done dirty.
Mhm. Thank you. And so the second question here is, what makes you the ideal candidate for this position? So there are, in fact, the list we have received, there are 3 candidates running for the position of president. Um, there can only be one presidential candidate. So what makes you the ideal candidate for this position to lead the union?
Well, I don't see UMSO as just some jumping off point for a career. My goal is to serve the people. When I was a first year organizing with students supporting UMFA, a former UMSU president actually told me how, as UMSU president, if you play along with administration, you get a favor from the university president. He'll serve as a reference for jobs in the future. I don't want that favor. I won't be getting it.
Mhm. Thank you. And our third question that we're asking each and every candidate is, what is the main pillar of your platform?
The main pillar of my platform would be transforming UMSU into a more militant and engaged union. I'm very much a believer in what Frederick Douglass said, that, quote, if there is no struggle, there is no progress, unquote. UMSU has no leverage to advocate for students unless there are students that are organized and willing to fight the neoliberal attacks on the education system.
Thank you. Our fourth question is, really, why are you running in this election? What reason or reasons have compelled you to put your name forward on the ballot and seek public office?
Well, I'm running because of how much dissatisfaction there is with UMSU. Um, like as well, even aside from like that very real resentment, a lot of people just don't even know what UMSU is about, what it does. Um, I'm also very deeply concerned about the rise of influential bureaucracies within UMSU and UMSU's tendency to play to the university's tune. Um, and these issues aren't limited to us here in Manitoba either. They're happening to student unions across Canada. And so I was really quite further disappointed by, a couple of years back when UMSU tried to leave the Canadian Federation of Students in order to join CASA, a right-wing student federation that does not support student activism.
Mhm. Our fifth question here, second last question, is how would you like your term to be defined in 3 words? So if you were elected as president of the union a year from now, at the end of your term, if you were to reflect back, what 3 words would you really like to define and exemplify your term as UMSU president?
Transparency, humility, and action.
Thank you. And our last question here, which is somewhat similar, is how would you like the UMSU Board of Directors to be defined using 3 words? So a year from now, again, if you were elected as UMSU president, reflecting back on that year, the Board of Directors as a whole, all of the directors together on the board, how would you like that board to be defined using 3 words?
Accountable, unselfish, and activist.
So I'm here with Fatima, who is running for president in the upcoming UMSU annual general election. And so the first question that we're asking each and every candidate is the following. For those that don't know you, describe yourself. Who are you? What are your passions? And what motivates you?
Okay, so for people who don't know me, hi, I'm Fatima, and I honestly believe my name doesn't really capture who I truly am. I'm personally someone who lives and breathes dedication. I'm like really driven by the deep passion to help others. As a people pleaser, that's just something that brings me true happiness. On campus, I've spent my days laughing with friends, but at the same time, I've spent days listening to the struggles of the fellow students and like real conversation that opened my eyes to how often we're overlooked. Helping others is just not something I do, it's what motivates me every single day. And I honestly ran because I care and I believe every student deserves to be heard.
Thank you. And our next question is, what makes you the ideal candidate for this position?
I feel like as a student, I truly understand the students here on campus and their experience, not from a distance, but from living it. I've also run like many small businesses, and that really made me realize how every single dollar matters. Doesn't matter how big the business is, how small it is. And like looking at our budget, we do have a good budget at UMSU, but like still, at the end of that, every single dollar matters to the students. I'm not running to secure a paycheck. I'm running because I'm truly fed up with a system that wastes our tuition money while ignoring our real needs. We are the heartbeat of this university, and we truly deserve to be heard. And I'm honestly here to fight the bureaucracy and ensure that our resources benefit us directly. I stand for the students because I'm not afraid to take a stand, even when it means challenging the system. That is meant to protect itself.
Thank you. And our third question here is, what is the main pillar of your platform?
Accountability. I'm here to make sure that every decision, every dollar, and every meeting is focused on making our campus better for students.
Thank you. Our next question is, why are you running in this election? What reason or reasons have compelled you to put your name on the ballot?
To be honest, I'm just tired of watching our campus be run like a money draining machine. Overpriced ranks, confusing fees, endless wait times for mental health support, and a system that truly just ignores our voices have become the norm. I've seen it all up close and I know we deserve better. I'm here to slash those wasteful costs, restore real freedom of speech and accountability, and create an environment where every student feels valued. I'm running to put students first because if we're the heart of this university, our voices should lead the way.
Thank you. And so our second last question here is, how would you like your term to be defined in 3 words? If you are elected as UMSU
Mm,
president a year from now, reflecting back on your term, if you were elected, what 3 words would you like to define your term as UMSU president?
the students first, honest, and real.
Thank you. And the last question that we have here, which is kind of similar, is how would you like the UMSU Board of Directors to be defined using 3 words? So if elected a year from now, when you reflect on your term as UMSU president, should you receive that position, as a whole, how would you like the UMSU Board of Directors, that governing body, to be defined in 3 words?
It would be caring, it should be bold, and it will be competitive, not like incompetent, if I'm being clear.
Mhm.
Not incompetent, bold, and caring.
So I'm here with Prabhnoor, who is one of the 3 candidates seeking the position of presidency in the upcoming UMSU annual general election. And so Prabhnoor, we're asking each and every candidate the same 6 questions. The first question for you is, for those that don't know you, describe yourself. Who are you? What are your passions? And what motivates you?
Hey, thank you for having me here. So my name is Prabhnoor Singh, and I'm a third year political studies major in the Faculty of Arts. Um, I would say my passions, I would say I have a deep passion for learning and exploring a wide range of subjects, and that could be through, I love reading books, that could be through reading. I love listening to podcasts as well, or just engaging with new people, new ideas all the time. And I like to always sort of expand my horizons, and in my free time, I play a couple of stringed instruments. I perform folk dances, and I I enjoy collecting watches, and I think these activities sort of allow me to express myself creatively. And what truly motivates me, I would say, is my ability to make others smile for sure and just leave a lasting impression and overall have a positive impact on the world. And I said this in my last year as well. Fun
Mhm.
fact, my favorite color is blue.
Nice.
So I
Thank
hope
you.
that describes me well.
Thank you. Our second question that we're asking each and every candidate is what makes you the ideal candidate for this position? So evidently you have other candidates that are running against you.
Mhm.
You are not the only candidate seeking the position of presidency. What makes you in particular the ideal candidate to lead the union as president?
What's it called? I'm glad that more people are running for all these positions, and
Mhm.
I do hope that the best candidate wins. I know it's important and it's nice to see that there's so much engagement. And with regards to myself, I think um, as the president of a large union such as Umsu, um, the role definitely requires, I would say, a lot of compassion, um, active listening, quick thinking, sort of being able to make decisions, um, the ability to stay positive for sure, and at the same time, you're guiding the team towards a common goal, which is sort of Amsu's mission is enhancing the post-secondary education experience for all students, right? So, in the role of a president, I would say these are some things that like, an ideal candidate requires. They're guiding a team of not only 5 execs, but also um, just like setting the way for the next year of the union, the visions to some extent as well. And I think another element that I would like to mention is that over the past year, I was UMSU's VP External Affairs as well. So through that role, I sort of gained really valuable first-hand experience. Working within the UMSU environment, I was able to learn, um, for example, just understanding the day-to-day operations of the union and also learn how to manage and collaborate with different people and the team. Um, and along the way, I discovered like some keys, do's, and don'ts that um, happen. And I'm confident that these experiences have equipped me with sort of the skills and the insight that requires one to be an ideal candidate to be the UMSU president.
Thank you. And so our next question is, what is the main pillar of your platform?
Um, the main pillar I would say
Mhm.
for my platform has to be increasing student engagement and empowerment. When I was developing my policies, I ensured that they were designed to support students through the work of the various vice president portfolios as well, so that ensuring that all portfolio policies they're aligned with the student first approach. And another key focus I would say my platform is just keeping students well informed about what their executives are doing and ensuring that there's transparency in all the decision-making processes. And um, with regards to, I would say this, I would also plan to actively engage with external stakeholders, whether it's companies or government bodies, but at the same time prioritizing the needs and interests of students, whether it's through negotiations, contracts, whatever it may be. So I would say ultimately, uh, my pillar is, or my main goal is to make sure that a student that comes to the University of Manitoba, they not only feel more welcome, but also enjoy their post-secondary education experience. So I hope to foster an inclusive and supportive environment. Um, and I look forward to creating a campus where students feel heard, empowered, engaged, and truly just valued in their university journey.
Thank you. And so the next question is, why are you running in this election? What reason or reasons have compelled you to put your name on the ballot and really seek public office as president of the union?
Sure. I think a lot of people are going to ask me this question as well because I'm seeking a second term. So I'm running in this election. One of the major factors was that because there were several key tasks or initiatives from my current term that I'm determined to see through to completion, I would say. For example, in my campaign and over the last year as well, um, I was committed to the reinstatement of international students' healthcare coverage in the province, um, and just also at the same time developing a strong and sort of unified provincial lobbying group made up of the post-secondary student associations across Manitoba, which included Winnipeg Student Association, Red River College Student Association, UMGSA, Cinnamon Community College Student Association. So like all of these, and then so these were a couple of initiatives that um, I feel like were really important to create a more um, supportive environment for all students. And I also sort of want to continue leading a team that is always there for students, one that listens, advocates, and takes actions. And one more thing, it's like, so UMSU is part of a federal lobbying group called CASA, which stands for the Canadian Alliance of Student Associations. And we, as in the UMSU execs, have always, whenever we're talking with our counterparts at CASA over text or through meetings and stuff like that, we always just take pride in saying that, oh, we are the best student union. And I believe that through this sort of power of collaboration and leadership over the next year, I want to carry that legacy of excellence and ensuring that UMSU continues to serve as a strong, effective voice for students, but also just remains the best student union at CASA.
Thank you. And so our
So,
second question is, how would you like your term to be defined in 3 words? So if you were elected as UMSU president a year from now, when your term would be coming near its end, coming to completion, reflecting back on your term as UMSU president, if elected, how would you like that term to be defined in 3 words?
this definitely has to be a hard one to answer because I feel like everyone sort of has their perspective on the tasks that I'll be doing over the next year. So for myself, I would like my term to be remembered as a term, or I would like myself to be remembered as an UMSU president that was trustworthy, responsive, and dependable.
Mhm.
Um, Trustworthy as an executive, I want to prove my ability to resolve student issues effectively and fairly, and earning the trust of those students that I serve. Um, Being responsive with regards to just my dedication to advocating for students and addressing their concerns in a timely and impactful manner. Um, and with regards to being dependable, I want students to be able to count on me and whenever they need help and providing support when challenges arising, just students to know that I'm there to help them out. And the tagline of my campaign also goes like, leading with trust and listening with care. Make sure to vote proud for president. So I would say, yeah, the 3 words have to be trustworthy, responsive, and dependable.
Thank you. And so our last question, which is somewhat similar to that question, it's how would you like the UMSU Board of Directors to be defined using 3 words? So as a whole, collectively,
Hmm.
Board of Directors, that governing body, a year from now, if you were elected, reflecting back on your term as presidency, if elected, how would you like that board, that governing body, to be defined in 3 words?
Um, that's actually a really good question. I want to appreciate you for asking that because many times um, people sort of don't see the complete picture of when they think of UMSU. Many times it's just limited to the UMSU executives, or one of the big services that we offer is the U Pass. So sometimes When people think of UMSU, all they think of is either the executives or the UPass or just a service center. But the board is something that's often not well known about. So I appreciate you asking this question. Um, I would say for the three words, I definitely want to see a board that's inclusive. It is really essential that every voice, regardless of the background, perspective, or ideology, whatever you want to call it, every voice is heard and respected in decision making. And I think we should take pride in our board's ability to really just celebrate our diversity and sort of represent a diverse range of voices, student voices, whether it's through the support of our community reps or faculty representatives. Not many student unions across the country have such a, I would say, genuinely inclusive board, and it's something that we should continue to uphold for sure. Whether there's many other student unions across the country that have taken inspiration from UMSU and started getting community representative positions on their boards or faculty representative positions on their boards. So definitely something that we should take pride in. And so I would say inclusive is definitely the first word. And with a lot of people coming together, the board does definitely need to be collaborative, right? At the end of the day, the main function of the board is collaboration and achieving a common goal, which requires a lot of teamwork, not only amongst board members, but also with the broader student body that the board represents, right? So when we work together, we're able to tackle challenges more effectively and create solutions that would be able to benefit everyone. And yeah, so I would say the second word has to be collaboration or having a collaborative board. And lastly, I would say transparent. Transparency is definitely key to maintaining trust, and it is crucial that we maintain open communication with students and keeping them informed about decisions that the board has made and ensure accountability in all actions, whether it's for the UMSU executives, the community reps, or the board members. Um, at the same time, board members should also fulfill their fiduciary duty towards the union and ensuring that um, I would say, yeah, ensuring that students feel represented and heard. So, in my opinion, these are the three words that I feel like would help create, or I would like the board to be remembered as over the next year, is inclusive, collaborative, and transparent.
I'm here with Ishraqul, who's running for the position of Vice President University Affairs in the upcoming annual UMSU election. And as you know, we're asking each and every candidate 6 questions. The first question is, for those that don't know you, describe yourself. Who are you? What are your passions? And what motivates you?
So I'm Ishraqul Alam, and I'm running to be the next UMSU Vice President of University Affairs. I'm a physics and astronomy student, problem solver by nature, and I love building stuff. So I started this newsletter back in June 2023 called the Polymath Post, and I'm currently working on developing the video content of that time. And since last year, I've been working on filming a podcast. And I've already shot one with Mr. Bryce Offenberger at our university at the political science department. So that's kind of my passion, what I pursue. And besides physics and like other sciences, I have a strong interest in the arts like history, politics, and also economics. So being an active student here within the student union, and my faculty as well, I've always believed that we students deserve better representation, better resources, and like need to have a real say in how decisions are being made at the university. And what motivates me is it's kind of simple. I see and I'm living through the challenges that we as students face. be it rising tuition, like students, like clubs struggling for funding and decisions being made without us at the table. And I'm running to change that.
Excellent. Thank you. Our second question is, what makes you in particular the ideal candidate for this position?
So I understand how this university works, how decisions are being made. It's been what, 2 to 3 years at this university. I understand how this university works, how decisions are being made, where the roadblocks are, and most importantly, how to get things done. I've been deeply involved in like student organizing, advocacy, and pushing for real change. I know how to bring students together to get our voices at the forefront and fight for what matters. I'm not here to make empty promises. I'm here to deliver results. Yeah. And I'll fight for making the student representation stronger at every corner of the university. I'll fight to make the student senate caucus stronger than ever. I will unleash the full potential of our student clubs by opening doors to better funding and better resources. We need a student experience that actually reflects what we need. If you want someone who will work for you, I'm your guy.
Thank you. Our third question here is, what is the main pillar of your platform?
Restoration of power. Giving back students real power at the decision-making table. I will fight to make sure the Students' Senate Caucus has a stronger voice, that student clubs get the funding resources they need, and hold the university accountable for how our money is spent.
Thank you. Our fourth question here is, why are you running in this election? What is the reason or reasons that have compelled you to put your name on the ballot in this election?
Simple, because students deserve better. Because I believe we should have a real say in the decisions that impact our lives. Because I believe that Umsu, as a student union, should be an organization that actually delivers for students, not just talks about it. This election is about making sure that students come first, not as an afterthought, not as a checkbox, but as the driving force behind everything Umsu does. And that's why I'm running. And I also believe that there is a strong appetite for a radical change among students. They're kind of looking for like a radical transformation of the system. Like that is what I'm offering our students, and my election will into office will be an attempt to deliver exactly that. And we can't be towing the line. We can't afford to lose. It's this is about students now. It's either now or never.
Thank you. Our second last question here is, how would you like your term to be defined in 3 words? So if you are elected into this position a year from now, when your term would end, reflecting back on your term, if you were elected, what 3 words would you like to define or exemplify your term?
3 words would be, okay, action, accountability, results.
Thank you. And our last question, which is somewhat similar, is how would you like the UMSU Board of Directors to be defined using 3 words? So evidently, if you're elected into this vice presidential position, you'd be working with other vice presidents, the presidents, other board members. So collectively as a whole, the UMSU Board of Directors, that governing body, how would you like that body to be defined using 3 words?
Student-driven, transparent, impactful.
So I'm here with Rachhvir, who is seeking the position of Vice President University Affairs in the upcoming UMSU annual general election. And so Rachhvir, as you know, we're asking each and every candidate the same 6 questions. And our first question to you is as follows. For those that don't know you, describe yourself. Who are you? What are your passions? And what motivates you?
Yeah, so my name is Rachhvir Dhaliwal. I'm a dedicated student leader and advocate who is passionate about making improvements to student life. I think a bunch of my passions are advocacy, leadership, and community building. I believe that every student deserves a safe, supportive, and thriving university experience. And just having spent the past year in my role as VPUA at UMSU, I working on I worked on initiatives that prioritize student well-being, and I've developed a deeper understanding of many challenges students face and also solutions needed to address them. But before this role, I was also an executive in multiple student clubs where I developed my student leadership skills. And yeah, I'm also deeply passionate about fostering a safer campus environment where women feel empowered, supported, and safe. And then I believe that every woman deserves to feel safe and respected and supported in their academic and personal journeys. And this is why I've prioritized advocating for campus safety measures, including better lighting, expanding the Safe Walk program, collaborating on self-defense workshops, and I strongly support increasing access to free menstrual products as well, because no student should have to choose between necessities and their education. And I think you also asked what motivates.
Yeah, well, part of that question would be what motivates you, and
Yeah.
in the sense that what inspires you to get out of bed each day and tackle all the issues that life may throw at one.
I think getting out of bed every day and coming to work, I think what motivates me the most is making change, ensuring that student voices are heard, and that the policies reflect what students want. And I want to continue building on the work I've done over the past year, and then just to make sure that every student feels empowered to succeed in a safe and supportive university environment.
Thank you. Our second question is, what makes you the ideal candidate for this position?
So I've already gained a year of experience in student leadership, which has given me valuable insight into challenges students face and how to effectively advocate for their needs. Um, During this past year, I worked on key initiatives that have laid the groundwork for meaningful change, and I want to continue building on that progress and finish the projects that we started this year. So I think my experience combined with my passion for student advocacy makes me the ideal candidate to lead to be VP University Affairs again, and to prioritize key issues like safety, healthcare, and housing for all students.
Thank you. Our third question for each candidate is, what is the main pillar of your platform?
So just looking at my platform, I have 3 key ideas, but I think that the main pillar where it lies at is student well-being. Just ensuring that every student has access to a safer campus, affordable healthcare, and secure housing. I think these fundamental needs directly impact the academic success and well-being of students, and I'm committed to advocating for policies that create a better university experience for everyone.
Thank you. Our fourth question is, why are you running in this election? What reason or reasons have compelled you to put your name on the ballot?
Yeah, so when I think about this question, my biggest reason I'm running in this election is to finish projects that we've started this year and to ensure that student voices continue to be heard and advocated for at the university level. Many important initiatives such as improving campus safety, international student healthcare, expanding the menstrual product program, and advocating for more student housing, they're still in progress. And I want to see these projects through, and I want to make sure they're finished and work towards creating long-term sustainable solutions for students and for the union.
Thank you. Our second last question is, how would you like your term to be defined in 3 words? If you were elected in this position in the upcoming annual general election, a year from now, reflecting back on your term, if you were re-elected essentially for this position, what 3 words would you like to define your term?
So 3 words I would use to define my term if I was elected again would be impactful, empowering, and action-oriented.
Thank you. The last question, which is kind of similar, would be, how would you like the Umsu Board of Directors to be defined using 3 words if elected into this position? Evidently, there would be a level of collaboration that it would most likely entail in this position, but collectively as a whole, a year from now, the Umsu Board of Directors, what 3 words would you like to define that governing body?
Yeah, so I think the Umsu Board of Directors plays a big part in the organization. Obviously, the 3 words I would use to look back at them for a year from now, efficient, transparent, and student-centered.
Okay, so I'm here with Heaven Kaur, who is seeking the position of VP University Affairs in the upcoming UMSU annual general election. And so, Heaven, the first question that we're asking to each candidate is, for those that don't know you, describe yourself. Who are you? What are your passions? And what motivates you?
Amazing. So as mentioned, my name's Heaven Kaur. I'm in my third year in the Faculty of Science. And one of the biggest things that, I'm passionate about is advocacy work and ensuring that all voices are heard, respected, and valued. I like to make sure that, everyone around me feels safe and valued to the point where they can approach me and they know I'm there to listen to them. I'm also a very firm believer that, when good people come together, good things happen. And I see the board of directors for the next year as people that can make a huge impact on student lives. What motivates me would be all the women that came before me. They did so much and they paved the way so that women like myself and other folks have a voice at, tables that make decisions.
Thank you. The second question is, what makes you the ideal candidate for this position?
So my diverse experience in leadership, advocacy, and my ability to work with, different stakeholders, and my dedication towards making sure that we have a community where students feel safe and heard on campus would make me an ideal candidate for VPUA. With that being said, actually, in my previous role as the women's rep, I advocated for my constituents to the board of directors while ensuring that, I was creating a safe space for students. I have experience volunteering off campus, which has actually broadened my perspective on various student needs and what students want from administration. Additionally, my job with the government of Manitoba has also provided me with skills that ensure that I know how to represent my constituents, respect opinions that are different than mine, and ensuring that all voices are actually being heard. I would like to say that all of these experiences have shaped me with the skills that are required to be Vice President University Affairs and to represent students effectively, advocate for their interests to administration, and manage academic and disciplinary matters with fairness and kindness.
And what is the main pillar of your platform?
So one of the biggest pillars of my platform is transparency. I find that many students don't know what advocacy work UMSU does, and I want to make sure that students know what UMSU does for them. With that being said, some of the other pillars of my campaign are student safety, student voices, and improved academic schedules.
The fourth question is, why are you running in this election? What chose you, to put your name forward and seek essentially public office?
I'm running in this election. As in my previous role as the women's rep, I spent time, meeting with students, hearing their needs, and that is the biggest reason I'm putting my name on the ballot. I want to ensure that all voices are heard, respected, and valued. And at the end of the day, all my policies are actually derived from conversations myself and other students had over the year.
The second last question is, how would you like your term to be defined in 3 words? At the end of the year, once your term is over, when you look back on it, what 3 words would you like to have that really define your term?
The 3 words I would want to use to define, the end of my term, if elected, would be empowered, informed, and connected.
And the last question, kind of similar, is how would you like the UMSU Board of Directors to be defined using 3 words? Evidently, if elected, you would be a board member for UMSU, and there will be a level of collaboration that will be involved with other directors. So at the end of the year, as a whole, for the UMSU Board of Directors, what 3 words would you like to represent that body?
3 words, I would want to use to represent the UMSU BOD for the upcoming academic year would be informed, accessible, and caring.
So I'm here with Sahir, who's running for the position of Vice President External Affairs in the upcoming annual UMSU general elections. And so the first question that we're asking each and every candidate of the 6 questions is, for those that don't know you, describe yourself. Who are you? What are your passions? And what motivates you?
Okay, my name is Sahir Harike, and I'm a 4th-year student. I'm majoring in sociology. And before running for UMSU, I was an active member of Punjabi Student Association. And I'm passionate about serving our community and making a difference. So like what motivates me most is the struggles of students I met during the time in Punjabi Student Association and the struggles they faced that motivated me to elect, and yeah, that's what
Thank
motivates
you.
me most.
Our second question is, what makes you in particular the ideal candidate for this position?
I believe I'm the ideal candidate for the VP External Affairs. It's because I have been advocating for students during last couple of years, and this position requires a lot of negotiation skills, the communication skills, and a good relation with government. And basically, this position requires what most is the one person who prioritize students' well-being, their demands over they just prioritize students over anything. So I think I got that, and that's what made me the ideal candidate.
Thank you. Our third question is, what is the main pillar of your platform?
It's the advocacy that I've been doing, and I'm gonna do it once elected, and like good connections with government. So yeah.
Thank you. Our next question is, why are you running in this election? What reason or reasons, plural, have compelled you to step forward, place your name on the ballot, and seek public office?
During my time in university, like I've faced so many struggles, whether it is regarding healthcare, the high affordability, the inflation, and higher tuition fees. And even during like I was a member in Punjabi Student Association, I really met students they were facing same struggle as me. So that motivated me to elect for this position, and that gave me a really thought that okay, should advocate for these students. So that's why I'm running in this election.
Our second last question is, how would you like your term to be defined in 3 words? So if you were elected to this position, if you're elected as Vice President of External Affairs, a year from now, when your term would be coming to an end, if you had to reflect back on your term, what 3 words would you like to be used to define your term and time with Umsu?
I'd say influential, impactful, and hard work.
And the last question we have is, how would you like the Umsu Board of Directors to be defined using 3 words? So if you were elected to this position, you'd be a board member, you'd be working with other board members. So collectively, that Umsu Board of Directors, that governing body of the Students' Union, how would you like that governing body to be defined using 3 words?
I would say compelling, productive, and visionary.
So I'm here with Manvir, who is running for the position of Vice President, External Affairs in the upcoming Umsu annual general election. And so Manvir, we're asking each and every candidate 6 questions. And the first question is, for those that don't know you, describe yourself. Who are you? What are your passions? And what motivates you?
For sure. So, hey everyone, my name is Manvir Kaur, and I am a third-year actuarial student at University of Manitoba. If you've seen me around campus, you probably know me as somebody who's always up for a conversation. I love meeting new people, and I really thrive on making meaningful connections. I'm passionate about people, understanding them, supporting them, and working together to making things better. Whether that's through leadership or volunteering or just having like an honest conversation. I love being part of something bigger than myself. Like in the past, I've fundraised for underprivileged families or I've developed a resource toolkit for allies of sexual violence survivors, and just leading discussions on mental health and social justice. So all of these experiences have shown me just like how powerful advocacy can be. They've reinforced my belief that when we listen and take action and stand up for others, we can build a stronger and more supportive community. And that's what continues to drive me forward. I love when ideas turn into actions and when we take small steps that lead to a bigger impact. I've always believed in stepping up and taking risks and seeing just where life will take me. Growing up, I was thrown into a lot of experiences that shaped me into someone who's not afraid to try new things or take on challenges or push for more change. And just being a part of University of Manitoba, I've met so many students from different backgrounds and different needs, and I've seen just on like I've practically seen like where change could be needed, and whether that's like through having like a better curriculum taught in like a more engaging way to improve job success after graduation, or if it's just making accommodations that are easier to access. Because I know U of M has a lot of different clubs and different resources that students can use, but students don't even know where to go to get these resources. And it's also like to improving campus safety and ensuring that students have affordable food options that are both nutritious and meet different dietary restrictions, and just being a voice for those concerns and many more.
Thank you. And so our next question is, what makes you the ideal candidate for this position? So evidently you do have opponents. There are other individuals seeking this position, but in particular, what makes you the ideal candidate for this role?
For sure. I guess the first part is understanding what a vice president external affairs does. It's somebody who's going to be speaking externally for the University of Manitoba and making a better public image and advocating for students to different governmental levels. It'll be somebody who's talking to different nonprofit organizations or businesses to bring in different changes that could result in answering concerns of different students. So it requires somebody who is a strong communicator, a proactive leader, and an advocate for students' interests on a larger platform. And for me, I believe advocacy isn't just about speaking up, it's also about listening first, right? So over the years, I've worked with nonprofits and student-led organizations, and I realized how important it is to make sure that everybody is on the same page so that we can collectively advocate for a united voice. So the VP external role requires somebody who can develop policies, collaborate with organizations, and advocate for students at a higher level. So for me, I've worked on initiatives that required thorough research and understanding of strategic planning and making me well prepared for this responsibility. And also, this position requires collaborating with so many people externally. And I'm just so grateful for the strong network of people I've had that I can actually reach out to making this a reality.
Thank you. And so our third question is, what is the main theme of your platform? Sort of the main theme, or the main pillar of your platform.
Right. So the statement I'm going for is like advocating beyond the campus. And to its core, it's more about like having accessibility and equity for everybody. So like a lot of times students face so many unnecessary barriers, and it could be just complicated accommodation processes, or having mental health support there, but not having it in the right way. For example, a lack of mental health support that reflects different diverse communities, or sometimes it's higher costs that make university less affordable, or less food options, or a lack of awareness on scholarships or internship opportunities, and not having the right skill sets in advancing in their dream career. So my platform is about breaking those barriers so that every student, regardless of their background, has support, resources, and opportunities that they deserve.
Thank you. And our fourth question is, why are you running in this election? What reason, or reasons plural, have compelled you to step forward, place your name on the ballot, and seek public office?
For sure. I guess for me, it was very much like the VP external should be somebody who genuinely listens and understands for the student body and can fight for them. And it shouldn't just be for personal gain, but rather what you can actually do for others. So over the years, I've seen students struggle to get accommodations and worry about safety. And I feel like there has been concerns that are put out online that there isn't much transparency of what goes around. So instead of like just watching these issues continue, I really wanted to take action. So I'm running because I believe in actually having solutions and not just discussions for these issues. So like my first thing, like having a safer campus for students. So as somebody who stays late for my classes, and being a woman myself who's maybe has also like a shorter height, and just it gets a little bit scary seeing so many different complaints at university campus of what's going around. So I guess no student should have to feel unsafe that whether they should study or have to go home because it's getting late. And then walk-in therapy sessions with culturally diverse professionals. So being part of a minority group, I've had experience where I wanted to reach out to a therapist on university campus, but I didn't have somebody who I could relate to, and also I couldn't meet them in time. Like I remember putting in an application and I was met with somebody like a year and a half later, and it was just hard, right? And then just more internship opportunities and just like having like a more guaranteed way that after you graduate you will get a job, because at the end of the day that's why we're here for studying at university, right? So I study actuarial science, and one of the biggest things is having internships or relative experience, and it's so hard to get your first internship. And I'm really grateful that U of M recently changed like their curriculum for Asper students, where they have more computer essential programs like teaching Power BI or Excel. So that can really relate to our job employers, what they're looking for. But I know that's not the case for all the different majors out there. And I really want to speak to different communities on campus and see like how can I help them reach out to job employers and actually implement a curriculum that's related to the work that they're going to do. And lastly, like having affordability on campus. So some of the things is I know a lot of students that stay long hours and they need like food, right? But most of the options we have are either not accommodating the different dietary restrictions of people, or they're just really, really expensive. So I know like another university that I was researching, they have like a smart meals program, which has this affordability option where students can get like a $5 meal, which is well nourished, and it has like different options. You can select like a vegan option, vegetarian option, and so on and so forth. So like we shouldn't have to worry about affordability of nutritious meals while studying. So there's just so many other issues that I could talk about, but the main thing is I'm running for this election so that I can continuously listen to students of what they want for me to do and advocate at the right levels.
Thank you. And our second last question is, how would you like your term to be defined in 3 words? So if you were elected into this position, if you were elected as Vice President of External Affairs, a year from now, reflecting back on your term, what 3 words would you like to define and exemplify your term and time with Umsu?
For sure. I think these would be transparent, ethical, and impactful.
Thank you. And our last question, which is somewhat similar, is how would you like the UMSU Board of Directors to be defined using 3 words? So again, a year from now, if you were elected to this position, a year from now, when your term comes to an end, the UMSU Board of Directors as a whole, how would you like that governing body to be defined using 3 words?
I really hope that they remember me as somebody who is student focused, inclusive, and very proactive in my role.
So I'm here with Jared, who is a candidate for the position of Vice President of External Affairs in the upcoming UMSU annual general election. And Jared, the 6 questions that we're asking each and every candidate. Number 1, for those that don't know you, describe yourself. Who are you? What are your passions? And what motivates you?
Yeah, well, hi, my name is Jared Ramos Murphy. I'm a 4th-year criminology major with a minor in political science. I've been involved on campus in a number of student groups, such as Pre-Law as queer rep, ASBC as racialized rep, and also as the former judicial board chair for UMSU. In my current role, outside of campus activities as a constituency assistant, I have experience working to ensure that services are provided to the community. And yeah, so this has all inspired me to put my name on the ballot for our student union as VPA so that I can continue better serving our community. And I would say that that's really what like motivates me and what my passion is, working for people, working for students, and making sure that, services and supports are the best that they can be, no matter what.
Thank you. Our second question, what makes you the ideal candidate for this position?
For sure. Yeah, so, serving the community both on and off campus isn't just a passion. It's a duty that I've given myself, and by advocating for others. My experience in provincial politics has, equipped me with the understanding of the government's role in education, along with the role of external partners in not only just the union, but education as a whole. And I believe UMSU, as one of the largest student unions in Canada, needs someone who's committed to utilizing those relationships to better student lives and the student experience. And so I truly believe that, with my experience, both externally with government relations and external partners, as well as internally, just knowing how the union works and how board meetings work has equipped me and makes me like a really good candidate to hit the ground running and start the work on my policies and on my platform.
And since you mentioned platform, our third question is actually, quite related to that question. What is the main pillar of your platform?
I actually have three pillars. So affordability is a huge issue for students and families right now. We're seeing the cost of groceries rise and the cost of housing like skyrocket. And the last thing that students need to worry about is tuition, is tuition skyrocketing. And so as Vice President of External Affairs, as VPEA, I would use my voice to advocate for tuition freezes and be at the table to ensure that student voices are heard before any decisions are made that regard us and affect us. And additionally, safety on campuses will be a main focus. Working with our external safety providers would be my priority in getting more supports and services on our campuses to ensure that all students feel safer, no matter if you're on Bannatyne or Fort Garry. And then transparency, reevaluating the way that we as students view our external partnerships will be a priority. Ensuring that students understand the breakdown of their fees and where our money is going towards and how we can utilize that money will be certainly key to making sure that UMSU is, more transparent as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Our fourth question here, and you kind of touched on this in the start, but we're asking, each and every candidate this question in full, is why are you running in this election? What has compelled you to put your name on the ballot?
At the end of the day, I'm here for students. I'm a student myself. I've had to go through, times of like trials and tribulations, just like, many others. But I've always had the strength and the will to persevere and continue, using services that are provided for by UMSU at times, using, people around me. And so I want to be that person for other students who may be going through those times of stress and struggle. I know what students need, and I also know that students need to be at the table when decisions are being made about them. As VPA, I would ensure that our union represents all student issues and ensure that our issues are heard through working with external partners, such as the government and various other relationships that we have. And so being transparent about our union's relations and power that we have with our external partners will help ensure that our voices and concerns are just made clear to them and will drive any future anything that happens in the future with decisions.
Thank you. Our second last question here. How would you like your term to be defined in 3 words? So if you were elected into this position at the end of the year, reflecting back on your term, what 3 words would you really like to be utilized to define your term and your time with UMSU in this position?
So I would want it to be really defined by effectiveness, responsibility, and results. I want people to look back on my term and be able to come up with all of these concrete things that I've done and that I've worked towards and being able to do. So I want to be known as the effective VPA, be known as the responsible and the result driven VPA for sure.
Thank you. And our last question, it's kind of similar to the one I just asked. How would you like the UMSU Board of Directors to be defined using 3 words? So evidently, if you're elected into this position, you'll be working, or there will be an element of collaboration, most likely, with other Board of Directors. So as a whole, if you're elected into the position a year from now, how would you like the UMSU Board to be defined in 3 words?
Honestly, honest, student-led, and active. I want people to know that their board of directors is working super hard for them. I want, as I've said before, the UMSU and the board of directors to be transparent, to work towards, affordability and safety. So I want people to know about that and to that to be like the first thing on their mind when they think about Umsu and when they think about the board of directors. I think, you know, in my campaign and in my policies, I'm really looking for a change of pace with Umsu. I want us to kind of reorient the way that we handle external partners and external partnerships. And a big part of that work is to make it known that the union cares. You know, I want Umsu, if I'm a part of it, to be the union that cares and the union that's honest and student led and busy working for students.
I'm here with Rachel, who's running for the position of Vice President Student Life in the upcoming annual Umsu general election. And so, Rachel, as you know, we're asking each and every candidate 6 questions. The first question is, for those that don't know you, describe yourself. Who are you? What are your passions? And what motivates you?
Okay, thank you, Milan, for that question. My name is Rachel Agbapke. I'm Nigerian. I'm a YouTuber. I'm an international student currently in the University of Manitoba studying nursing. I would describe myself as a free-spirited individual with a huge sense of adventure. I'm also solution-driven and hardworking. Some of my passions are swimming, vlogging, because I have a YouTube channel, I mentioned that. Also journaling. I have a small community of people online where I share my thoughts with on a monthly basis, and it has become one of my favorite things. Some of the things that motivate me in life has to be my family. Just the love and support that I get from them inspires me, you know, to want to like be great and just do better things. Beyond that, I'm also motivated by the deep desire to help people. You know, I'm the kind of person that goes through things and tries to make sure that other people don't go through same things, right? So just being an impact and being a force for positive change is one of the things that also motivates me.
Thank you. And so the second question that we're asking each and every candidate is, what makes you in particular the ideal candidate for this position? Evidently, there's a few candidates running for this position here, but what makes you in particular the ideal candidate for this role?
Thank you very much for that question again. For me, community is very, very important. You know, it's important to me that students have a strong sense of community on campus. You know, I'm very, very passionate about this, and it's one of the main reasons why I'm running in these elections, because lots of university students face things like depression, anxiety, loneliness, and if we have more student-to-student interaction on campus, I feel like this would be reduced drastically. And so that's one of the things I want to definitely do. That's making me want to run for this election and making me like an ideal candidate for this election. Beyond that, I also have a background in student leadership from my elementary school up until my high school. I graduated as the head girl of my high school. I don't know if you guys have that here, but back home, we have something called prefects in high school, where in your final year, outstanding students are picked out to lead students in the school. So I was like I was the head girl of my school, and so that experience has honed my ability to lead, and has made me very, very knowledgeable in terms of students' politics, in terms of students' interaction, in terms of connecting with people, being able to have social interaction skills and leadership skills. Yeah, so I do feel very prepared and ready and convinced that I'm the ideal candidate for this position.
Thank you. The next question we're asking each candidate is, what is the main pillar of your platform?
Okay, there are three main pillars of my platform. The first one is connect. The second one is to inform. And the third one is to empower. So I'm going to break this down. And for the first one that I mentioned, connecting, has to do with helping students interaction, like I mentioned before. And one of the ways that I want to solve this is by focusing on first-year students, pairing them up with students in their third year or final year, in areas where they want to major in, because some of the mistakes that we make when we first go into university is we take too long deciding what we want to major in. So I feel like if there is this mentorship program where students can connect with, where first year students can connect with final year or third year students to ease their coming into the system, that would make such a meaningful impact. And secondly, promoting student communities and clubs, safeguarding the clubs that are already on campus, student communities and clubs that are already on campus, safeguarding them and promoting new ones to be made, to suit various students and their interests. And for the second one, this is just a summary. I have made a PDF file of breaking down everything I'm going to do in these three areas. So the second one will be to inform students. I believe that if people have the right information, it can change someone's life. It can change the trajectory of someone's life, just having the right information, knowing that these resources are available, knowing how to get these resources, knowing where to go to get these resources, in terms of funding, in terms of support varies. It can be mental, emotional, academic support, just making sure that these resources are in the public, that people know that these resources are there, informing students as much as possible, advertising the initiative that Umsu as an organization has, and that helps students, to make their academic life way, way, way easier. And the third one is to empower students. Lots of students have this notion that right after university, there is a job waiting for them out there. But we can see over the years, that has not been the case. The job market has declined drastically. So one of my visions, if I do get elected as the VP Student Life, would be to create workshops, courses, seminars where students are taught high impact, short-term spanning courses that can be blended into current academic schedules. Some of these courses like project management, Scrum Master, data analytics, courses that are in demand in the job market right now, preparing students for life after university, because we take programs in school to get degrees, and then when you come out of the university, the job market is telling you they want these specific things, and then you have to now start taking a new course after you're graduated. So this initiative is to prepare students for the job market, bridging the gap between graduation and the job market, easing the transition, life after university, easing the transition after graduating into the job market, empowering students with these skills that will serve a lifetime even. So these are like the visions that I would love to bring to life if I do get elected as the Vice President Student Life. And I'm very passionate about this because it's real life situations. It's what's going on. It's what's happening, and students need to be ready. We need to be ready for the future.
Thank you. And so our next question that we're asking each candidate is why are you running in this election? What reason or reasons, plural, have compelled you to step forward, place your name on a ballot, and seek public office?
There is important work to be done. And it is a deep sense of desire and my commitment to, I'd say, fulfill social obligations. That's why I'm stepping up into student leadership. I believe in student leadership. I believe in the impacts that it can make in the lives of students, right? Yeah, this is why I'm stepping up. The desire to make an impact, the desire to participate and engage and be a force for meaningful advancement for students is one of the reasons why for me, it's important that students feel supported, they feel seen, they feel heard, they feel considered, and most importantly, they feel empowered.
Thank you. And so our second last question is, how would you like your term to be defined in 3 words? So if you're elected to this position a year from now, when your term would be ending, if you were to reflect back on your term, what 3 words would you like to represent or exemplify your term and time with Umsu in this position?
Refreshing, empowerment, support.
Thank you. And our last question, which is somewhat similar, is how would you like the Umsu Board of Directors to be defined using 3 words? So if you're elected to this position, you'd be a board member on Umsu, you'd be working with other board members. So collectively as a whole, that Umsu Board of Directors, that governing body of the Students' Union, how would you like that governing body to be defined using 3 words?
Accessible, productive, impactful.
I'm here with Maya, one of the candidates running in the upcoming Umsu general election for the position of Vice President Student Life. So Maya, the first of 6 questions that we're asking each and every candidate is the following. For those that don't know you, describe yourself. Who are you? What are your passions? And what motivates you?
Well, hi, my name is Maya. As we just learned, I use she, they pronouns, and I'm running for VPSL. I guess I'm a 3rd-year university student, 2nd-year English major. I've kind of been experimenting in the different faculties. I finally settled in the arts faculty. I'm hoping to do postgraduate studies into a master's and hopefully a PhD into English literature. And I guess the end game is doing a bachelor's of education. So community support, as you can see, has always really been my main passion. I love working with people. I've always loved working on kind of like a base level. All of my jobs and volunteer experience have always been catered towards helping people and just being kind of like that main go-to person for people. So that's kind of been my passion and motivation since I 10 years ago, really.
Okay, thank you. Our second question is, what makes you the ideal candidate for this position?
So talking about the VPSL, so the VPSL mainly pertains to non-academic things. So we're talking student groups, financial assistance, and all that. So myself, I've been a part of many different student groups, many different kinds of student groups as well. So I'm a part of RPC, ASBC, the Arts Tribune. I've kind of done a little bit of with Rhea and Active Minds. So these are all different kinds of student groups and community groups and associations. So they all have their different perks and benefits. So I've kind of been around and I really understand the gaps that some of these groups need from UMSU, especially considering that the VPSL would be the main touch point between these groups and UMSU. I've also just done many different kinds of initiatives that are exactly what the VPSL tries to do. So financial assistance initiatives. On ASBC, I've done holiday hampers. I've helped out with the creation of the Community Support Fund, which is a fund that aimed to help people part of marginalized communities get funding for things like rent assistance and gender affirming care. And I've ran donation drives for local charities and a lot of events events that try to acknowledge the intersectionality between different communities. So I've really been trying to dedicate my time to really acknowledging gaps between communities and places that need a little bit more support than others. And of course, just hosting a lot of fun events within different kinds of places.
Thank you. Our third question here is, what is the main pillar of your platform?
Something that came to me really quick was the saying growth stems from community. I thought of that before I even thought of before I was even trying to think of a campaign, really. I just kind of thought it made a lot of sense to me. I understand there's this need for a space for communities like clubs and groups to kind of thrive a little bit more. Like everyone knows the club rooms are a big discussion that's been happening. And I think that I really want to be able to address that. My main goal is to redirect UMSU's focuses from kind of like events and fun planning for the VPSL and redirect the focus to clubs and student groups because I understand this want for the student body to feel more united. And I think that comes from a place of belonging, which can only happen if we kind of support these groups and clubs to grow.
Thank you. Our fourth question is, why are you running in this election? What reason or reasons have compelled you to put your name forward and put it on a ballot?
Like I said, community support really is a big one. I know that's a very basic answer, because I'm assuming a lot of people are going to say that. I really do feel the want to help the students, especially considering how much being a part of clubs and groups, which obviously, as I've been saying, is really my main platform, but has really helped me. I feel like I've made most of my main friends just being a part of these groups and seeing every single day, like people around me and online, just being like, how do I make friends? How do I make friends? And it's kind of like, if we foster these spaces for people to be in, then that's where they are, like being able to be around people who share your interests, being able to know where to find them. That is why I put my name forward specifically.
And our second last question here is, how would you like your term to be defined in 3 words? If you were elected into this position, a year afterwards, looking back on your term, what 3 words would you like to define your mandate there with UMSU?
I would say community, supported, and accessible. That last one specifically means a little bit more to me because I think being able to be reached by everyone is really important to me, just like through email or like for meetings, et cetera, et cetera.
Thank you. And our last question here, somewhat similar to that question I just posed, is how would you like the UMSU Board of Directors to be defined using 3 words? Evidently, there'd be a certain level of collaboration. You'd be working with other directors. So collectively as a whole, how would you like that board to be defined in 3 words?
I would say passionate, selfless, and respectful. We're all there for different reasons, but I do think we're all united by one common goal to serve the student body. So I'm really hoping that we can all, put a lot of things past each other and really work together to do all that.
I'm here with Manjit, who is running for the position of Vice President Student Life in the upcoming annual UMSU general election. And so the first question that we're asking each and every candidate is as follows. For those that don't know you, describe yourself. Who are you? What are your passions? And what motivates you?
Well, currently I'm a first-year student at University of Manitoba, and my passions are, for now, advocating for the student rights, promoting inclusivity, and enhancing overall student experience. And I believe that everyone in the student body deserves to have a voice and opportunity where they can thrive academically and socially, and also, just have university is the second home of a student while they're going to school. So I would want them to feel at home.
Thank you. And so the second question that we're asking each candidate is, what makes you in particular the ideal candidate for this position, Vice President of Student Life?
A very scary question, but I believe that I am an ideal candidate for this position because because of the previous experiences I've had and the commitment that I want to have and show for the student advocacy and the vision for a positive change. While I was talking to students asking for their signatures from a nomination form, they shared their experiences and insights, and I was like very open to whatever they had to say, and it has made me more determined to effectively represent and serve the student body.
Thank you. And so our third question is, what is the main pillar of your platform?
The main pillar for my platform is to enhance student support and safety services. And I would want to be like have my 1 year to the student body all the time so they can share whatever they think needs to be implemented. And then the board of directors can decide.
Thank you. And so the fourth question is, why are you running in this election? What reason or reasons have compelled you to place your name on the ballot and seek public office?
I'm running for this position because I aim to address pressing student concerns and also bridge the gap between administration and student body. I would also like to, the way that the world is right now and the news that we see, I want to create an inclusive environment where every student feels safe, valued, and supported. And yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so our second last question here is, how would you like your term to be defined in 3 words? So if you are elected to this position, Vice President of Student Life, a year from now, once your term is concluded, looking back on your term, reflecting on your term, what 3 words would you like to define that term?
I knew we were asked for 3 words, but I have 4.
Okay.
1, collaboration with everyone, and also integrity, inclusivity, and just an overall growth for everyone too, not just for the student body, but for everyone.
Thank you. And so the last question, which is kind of similar, would be, how would you like the Umsu Board of Directors to be defined using 3 words? So evidently, if elected to this position, you would be a board of directors, you'd be a member of the board. And there would be a level of collaboration that it would entail. So collectively as a whole, the Umsu Board of Directors, that governing body, a year from now, how would you like the Umsu Board to be defined in 3 words?
Well, the 3 words that Umsu uses is that they define themselves with is diversity, representation, and engagement. So I would like to throw in my words, the collaboration again, that for an overall collaboration between everyone, and advocacy for the students, and also transparency where the students feel that they're welcome to share whatever they want. The students feel that they can trust us and vice versa.
So I'm here with Abisha, who's running for the position of Vice President Student Life in the upcoming Umsu annual general election. So the very first question that we're asking each and every candidate is, for those that don't know you, describe yourself. Who are you? What are your passions? And what motivates you?
Okay, so again, hi, my name is Abisha Kumar. I'm second year supply chain student. Since my first year, I've been passionate about more student life and the connection we build on campus. Coming to university, I saw how much potential there is more engaged, active, and fun student community. What really motivates me, to be honest, seeing students come together, whether it's at the big event, through clubs, or even just a meeting, to be honest, right? And I want to create more opportunities for those things. I believe there is less events happening. There's I can say there's less collaboration. Even you can take an example of the Valentine Day, right? I want people like clubs to get united to do one event rather than just doing like different events at the same time. And if they collab, they will have less. They have to spend less, and they will have more gathering there. So that is something which motivates me to run for the student life. To be honest.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Our second question here is, what makes you the ideal candidate for this position? Evidently for this position, there's quite a few candidates running for this position, but what makes you the ideal candidate for this position in particular?
So in this particular position, again, as I told you, right, I see in my first year, how things were working on, going on. At the same time, like I had a strong vision about the student life that goes beyond just the organizing event. I want to make UMSU more active at the same time. I want to make UMSU more collaborative. I want to make it more student focused. My experience working with different student groups has shown me some challenges club face. Like maybe it is coordinating with UMSU. Maybe we are not getting properly timely manner we were supposed to get. Maybe we're not getting, club face. At the same time, I want to become that bridge, and that is the reason, like I want, like I can say that I will be that bridge when I became the president. And then again, promoting more collaboration. At the same time, you see that I don't want like same theme event to be happening by different clubs at like for the same thing. As I can give you the live example, you can see the Valentine Day, we had like 3 4 events by 3 4 different clubs. Why don't they just do their thing together? At the same time, there will be like every club will have a less burden. At the same time, more people will show up on a 1 day event, right? And again, more connection, more collaboration, which bring more crowd there. Again, people can have more fun rather than just going 10 people going to at just one location. They can have just one big, like I can say, or like MPR hall. They can book an MPR hall. If you, I believe you haven't been long time here, they used to have a Halloween socials. They used to have, I can say, the beer garden. Those things, the Halloween social, we didn't had it happen. Like I can say, so I came in university 2023. They didn't have that year. They didn't have it in 2024. And this is 2025. If I became the VP, I will try to make that thing happen. So that, see, those things, to be honest, for me, I can think like if I became the president, and those I will do that thing. To be honest, yeah.
Thank you. Our third question that we're asking each and every candidate is, what is the main pillar of your platform?
Yeah, again, that thing, like my answer will, to be honest, just roam around that thing, the collaboration. That is my main pillar, enthusiasm, inclusivism, right? So that is where in between clubs and student, because VP of student life is just is a position like you like a pillar, you like a bridge between student, between clubs and AMSU, right? So I want to make that thing stronger, strong enough that we all three can survive and we can move together. So
Mhm.
again, by working together, bringing the burden on one people, like whether it's AMSU, whether it's student, whether it's clubs, making that burden less on each of the party individually. Again, working together, making our groups together, making hand. Again, campus community. I mean, people to more be connected, more be engaged. How that can be happen? Again, working around students according to their schedule. At the same time, with clubs, collaboration. So I can say the my main pillar will be the collaboration.
Mhm. And you kind of touched on this in some of your answers there, but the fourth question is, why are you running for this why are you running for this position? And what has compelled you to put your name forward to be on the ballot in this election?
Sorry, but it's just okay. So I can say that I'm running because I see so much potential in a student community. Like there's a big potential. I can say like I get it if you go around campus, there's like when students are free, at that time nothing is going around. Like I want AMSU to make more engaging, more bring back social events which used to happen on campus. Like before COVID, like there were so many things going around on campus, and it was like if you go on campus, you can see there's a vibe, but after COVID, it just totally changed up. I can see that, like I can see there's a like you can say there's a thing which you just need a spark, and it can burn, it can give that thing. So again, I believe we need that leader who can listen, who can act, who can bring that fresh perspective. I'm ready to take that challenge, to be honest.
Mhm. Mhm. Thank you. Our second last question here is, how would you like your term to be defined in 3 words? So if you're elected into this position after the end of the year, looking back and reflecting on your term, what 3 words would you like to describe your time in this position?
Again, to be honest, the same thing which our student needs. What is that? Engaging. I want to be more engaging with my students, with my clubs. Again, collaboration. If we work together, we collaborate with each other. Even you can take a live example of, you can take, if even parties when they collab, they make a, they go and reach out to more people. You Why you make Insta collab? Because you can reach out to more people. Same perspective, right? I want to be collab. Like I want clubs to collab if they're doing an event, if they have like specific perspective. I don't want like everyone to collab it. I know some clubs have their different opinion, but at the same time, if you're doing a same theme party, why do it different? Just collab it. Again, I want AMSU to be collabing with clubs at the same time, right? So the collaboration, again, something student focus, impactful engagement. Those will be my, like I can say that if I became a power, in power. These will be three things people will say in my defining me. That will be something I will be doing.
Okay, and our last question here, kind of similar, is how would you like the UMSU Board of Directors to be defined using 3 words? So evidently, if you're elected into this position, right, you'll be likely collaborating with others. So as a whole, the Board of Directors on UMSU, what 3 words would you like to describe the whole board?
Responsive, first of all, that should be there. Responsiveness, again, inclusive. We need to be inclusive because we live in community where we have people coming from different background. Inclusive, again, student focus. Why we are here? Because of student. So I need that thing to be there. Responsive, we have to be responsive whatever responsibility we have given. Inclusive, because it's different people coming from different community. At the same time, which is who are people who are like that student focus. So these 3 things, to be honest.
So I'm here with Hannah, who's running for the position of Vice President Student Life in the upcoming annual UMSU general election. And so the first question of 6 that we're asking each and every candidate is, for those that don't know you, describe yourself. Who are you? What are your passions? And what motivates you?
Okay, so my name is Hannah, and I'm in my 2nd year of computer science at University of Manitoba. And I'm very passionate about fostering student engagement, community building, and creating impactful experience that make university life more enriching for all students at U of M.
Thank you. And so the second question we have here is, what makes you in particular the ideal candidate for this position?
Right. So for the past year, I've been the campus ambassador for Dairy Farmers of Canada, and I bring thousands of funding and sponsorship to campus. I've sponsored over 30 campus events, and I worked with multiple students groups and organizations. And because of that experience, I've built numerous relationships and get to know more about our community and our various student groups. And I think from that experience, I've gained lots of ability to connect with students and talk to them, get to know them, get to see what problems matters to them. And I think that would help me a lot in my next position in implementing solutions, identify issues.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So our next question would be, what is the main pillar of your platform?
Right. So my slogan for my campaign is more resources, more support, more for you. So I have 3 things I want to do. So the first thing is more resources. It's not that our campus doesn't have enough resources. It's just that we have resources, but we don't advocate enough for them. I remember in my first year as an international student, I had a really hard time navigating life on campus. I think it would be very important if there's a person that could tell them like, hey, on campus, these are the resources that we have. If you have housing problem, if you have legal problem, come here, do this, right? So I would love to give students more support. Also, one of the policies that I'm focusing on is to make Umsu more accessible to all students. I want students to learn what's in Umsu and how Umsu works. Simplify the term, because a lot of things in Umsu are very complex, right? And I think simplifying that would make it easier for students to advocate for what matters to them. And I think that's very important.
Thank you. And so the next question is, why are you running in this election? What reason or reasons have compelled you to step forward, put your name on the ballot, and run for public office?
Right. So I'm running because I believe student life should be more accessible, engaging, and empowering. So as an international student myself, I face a lot of challenges. Financial stress, lack of accessible support to services. And I think I would love this opportunities to spend my time at U of M to make students' life better, whether it's through organizing events or advocate for financial or mental health support, or creating opportunities for students to grow both academically and in their career.
Thank you. And so our second last question here is, how would you like your term to be defined in 3 words? So if you were elected to this position of Vice President Student Life, a year from now, when your term is about to end, if you were to reflect and look back on your term and time with UMSU, what 3 words would you like to define your term?
Okay. I think inclusive is the first thing. I want all students to know that they are seen, heard, and supported. Impactful. I want to implement initiatives that leave a lasting positive effect on student life. And the last one is student focused. I want to prioritize the needs and concerns of students in every decision that I make.
Thank you. And our last question here, which is somewhat similar, is how would you like the UMSU Board of Directors to be defined using 3 words? So evidently, if you're elected to this position, you'd be a board member, you'd be working with other board members. So collectively as a whole, that governing body, the Board of Directors, how would you like the UMSU Board of Directors to be defined using 3 words?
I think first thing's transparent. I want to make sure that students are fully informed and involved in decision making. The part about Umsu or any students politic is that the majority of students aren't very involved. Like the average student, they're not very involved in the process. I want to make it more accessible, more transparent, and more students that get involved in the process. And the second thing is engage. I think the biggest, most important part of board of directors is that they have to continuously, actively listen to and work with students to address what matters to them, because people, most of the time when they get into the positions of power, they forgot the structure, the struggles of the average students, right? And the last one is action driven. So like moving beyond discussion and actually implementing meaningful change.
I'm here with Mudra, who is running for the position of Vice President Student Life in the upcoming UMSU annual general election. So as you're well aware, Mudra, we have provided each and every candidate with 6 questions beforehand. And our first question that we're asking to each candidate is the following. For those that don't know you, describe yourself. Who are you? What are your passions? And what motivates you?
So hi, I'd like to introduce myself again. I am Mudra Prajapati, running for the candidacy for Vice President of Student Life. And academically, I am a 3rd-year science student, majoring in biology, and I have a keen interest in statistics also. And I thrive on connecting with people and creating spaces where, everybody feels where they belong. I actually want to focus on mental health and feeling of belongingness, because as we can see, Canada is the place where everybody is coming from everywhere around the corner around the world, right? And everybody's feeling either left out or they're not feeling so much included. And I want to work on something where they feel that, yes, they do belong here. This is their university, this is their school. And so that their, progress can be much more supported in that way. And what motivates me is that for a very long time, I've always been very passionate about doing something for the society. Or so the thing is that I belong from, I mean, I'm really religious and spiritual, if I say, and I belong from the country where a lot of Hinduism is practiced. And in there, they have this term called seva. Seva means to give out to the society and do something for them or for people or anything, just doing without any your own self feeling. So I just want to do that. I want to take that practice into action and do it for the society, do it for my peers, do it for everybody because I'm also part of them and I've been through that journey. I know what are the, differences or what are the things that need to be addressed. So I wanna make some changes. I wanna be the change. So yeah, that's
Thank
the
you,
thing that
Deirdre.
motivates me.
Thank you. Our second question for each and every candidate is what makes you the ideal candidate for this position?
So I believe that I've always been an epitome of, you know, fresh ideas, experience, passion for things, being creative, and learning having a really high grasping power. And I'm not just here for the role or just for the title. I'm here to create an impact, as I mentioned in the previous answer. And I understand that, students struggle, they face struggles. They have either financial stress, academic pressure, the feeling of homesickness, or it's just disconnect, like feeling of discontent from campus life or something like that. So I just wanna, bridge the gap, or I just wanna, amalgamate everything all together and reflect in such a way where people's and students' needs are actually met. And because I have this drive for ideas and commitment for student life, I believe that I'm a good fit for it. Since I've been in this pool where I know where are the problems, so I can address them and work on it.
Thank you. Our third question here is what is the main pillar of your platform?
I believe that I want to work on transparency between students, Umsu body, and the students of U of M. I want to make them feel heard. I want to let them know that, yes, this and that is happening. And I want to give them, okay, I actually also want that, what are your thoughts on it or how we can, as a whole team, can improve? Because if UMSU is there. I mean, if students are there, then only there's UMSU, and if, it's vice versa. And both can be benefited only and only if both of them are, completely transparent with each other. Secondly, I want to also work on the well-being. That is, if I point it out exactly, that's the healthcare and dental insurances. I want to have a little bit better of their policies because I've seen some of my friends, they had some kind of an allergic reaction and the ambulances and stuff. Some things are not covered. Even myself, I'm having a wisdom tooth thing and happening. So they also mentioned that they reduced some of the prices. So it was a little bit discontent from my end. So I was like, okay, I need to do something in this direction. And, so that people and I mean, students can save a little bit from their own pocket because, as we all know, the recession and the price hike for everything, everybody is struggling in some of the other way. If I can manage to provide them with some of the either employment opportunities or stuff with the healthcare where they can save something, it'll be a little bit of more better life experience that they will have a good image of it. That yeah, they are passed from a good university and they have good memories of it, I feel.
Thank you. Our next question is why are you running in this election? What reason or reasons have compelled you to come forward and put your name on the ballot?
Um, So, firstly, my whole life I've been that kind of a student, like, that overachieving student who has always been into something or the other, who was also in debate, also doing, sports, head girl, best girl, stuff like that, academics wise. And all of this time, I was always having this idea wherein, okay, if I have these much skills and if I have this much of that, spark or thrive in doing something, then I feel like it's best to amalgamate it with that idea of seva, if I mention it again, and put it forward for the society and use all those for it, right? And since I've always, for the past 3 years in the university, I've been noticing, I've been, seeing how things are working, and that thing. Where, when I started to see the differences or when I started to see the problems, I was like, okay, I know how to make that difference. And since the past 3 years, people have been doing, and I wanna, also follow them and make a little bit of better update for it. And I wanted to be the voice of other people who do not have either that much of courage, or those people's concerns cannot be heard or met. So I want to be that person who, can push their concerns to the table and to the Umsu board and stuff, and truly work on it and make, a difference, have a change, make an impact. So I believe seeing problems and having that feeling that I can work on it, and then actually, putting my name in the ballot and, running for the race, that yes, if given the chance, I will definitely prove myself. It's for them. If, if they are there, I'm there. If we win together, we win together. We lose together, we lose together. That way.
Thank you. And our second last question is, how would you like your term to be defined in 3 words? So if you are elected to this position, right, a year from now, once your term is concluded, looking back, reflecting on your term, what 3 words would you like to be utilized to define your term if elected?
Um, I'd say action. And because there's action, I believe people will remember me and change. So
Thank
action,
you.
remembrance, and change.
Thank you. And our last question here, which is somewhat of a similar question, is how would you like the UMSU Board of Directors as a whole to be defined using 3 words? So evidently, if you're elected, you would be working with other directors, other board members. So a year from now, if you were elected, the UMSU Board of Directors, the governing body as a whole, what 3 words would you like to define the board?
I would say collaboration, teamwork or collaboration. And second would be inclusivity, because I've seen a lot of people from different places, different cultures, different races. They all come together using their skills, their powers, decision making to, give a little bit of push, a really good light for it. And I would say forward thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm here with Kai, who's running for the position of Vice President, Finance and Operations in the upcoming UMSU annual general election. And Kai, we're asking each and every candidate 6 questions that were provided beforehand. And the first question is, for those that don't know you, describe yourself. Who are you? What are your passions? And what motivates you?
Well, first I'll start off by saying thank you, Milan, for having me for this interview today. My name is Kai Jassel. I'm 20 years old. I'm an economics student here at the University of Manitoba. I'm motivated by my friends and other students that I meet here who work very hard, but they can't get a break because of rising costs of gas, grocery, rent, tuition. It's the reason why I'm running in this race, why I'm a candidate for VPFO. It's to help students through this affordability crisis, to stand up to the government, to fight inflation, crime, and bad deals that are making life harder.
Thank you. Our second question to each and every candidate is, what makes you the ideal candidate for this position?
Well, I know how to do a tough job and get results in it. I've been a leader before when I was in high school, and I've been an organizer since starting university 2 years ago. I have the economic experience to fix UMSU and a track record of standing up to the city, the province, and to Ottawa. So I know that I'll be able to get UMSU a better deal.
Mhm. Our third question is, what is the main pillar of your platform?
Affordability. That is the number one issue in this election and the number one issue facing Manitoban students. They're working 1, 2, even 3 jobs while trying to get a degree. And my plan for a first in a generation rate cut will lower the Umsu membership to $100 per semester. That's money saved, which can go towards gas, grocery, or rent instead of the membership. My plan to negotiate a better UPass deal would save Winnipeg students that pay for parking hundreds of dollars each semester, providing a long overdue break. And my plan to stop campus crime means less theft and fewer break-ins, so students don't have to spend more to replace stolen belongings or repair broken cars.
Mhm. Our fourth question, which you kind of touched on earlier in one of your responses, but we're asking each candidate this question in full. Why are you running in this election? What reason or reasons have compelled you to place your name on the ballot?
I'm running to give students a break. Inflation, rising taxes, all of that have made life unaffordable. I will use UMSU to stand up to the government and to get better deals to help during this affordability crisis.
Thank you. Our second last question here is, how would you like your term to be defined in 3 words? If you were elected to this position a year from now, reflecting back on your term, what 3 words would you like to be used to define that term?
I'd like to be the vice president who got it done.
Thank you. Our last question here is somewhat similar to the question I just posed, but how would you like the UMSU Board of Directors to be defined using 3 words? Evidently, if you were elected into this position, there would be some level of collaboration. So a year from now, reflecting on the UMSU Board of Directors as a whole, the governing body, what 3 words would you like to be used to define that governing body?
For me, I need a board of directors that will help me get it done.
So I'm here with Cameron, who is running for the position of Vice President, Finance and Operations in the upcoming UMSU annual general election. And so Cameron, as you know, we're asking each and every candidate the same 6 questions. The first question is, for those that don't know you, describe yourself. Who are you? What are your passions? And what motivates you?
I am currently an Asper undergrad. I'm in my 3rd year, and I'm majoring in finance right now. In my free time, I'm a volunteer medic, as well as I like to ride around on my motorcycle, I guess. Yeah, there's not much more to me. I'm hoping to do well in this position if elected, and I have a bit of a passion for it as well, since it is degree related, as well as my aspirations to go into that field as well. So,
thank you. And this kind of relates to our second question, which is, what makes you the ideal candidate for this position? As there's others that are seeking this position, it's not a claim as if there's only one candidate. So what makes you in particular the ideal candidate for this position?
well, specifically my previous experience, I was a board member at UMSU, or I currently am. I'll have to step down for the duration of the election, and I sat on the finance committee as well as the selections committee at UMSU, which gives me those insights into the operations of UMSU. I have identified some changes I would like to see if elected, as well as my past work history as well. I'm currently a logistics officer in the armed forces right now, and I suppose in terms of ethics, I'm also a medical first responder, which does bring that sort of aspect to it, at least in terms of trying to help people, because I do like to help people in general. So,
Thank you. Our third question here is, what is the main pillar of your platform?
the main pillar of my platform is going to be transparency and accountability. That might be 2, but I'm going to try to lump those 2 together as much as possible. I want to get as much feedback from everyone as possible to make sure that UMSU's doing what the general populace wants and not just what we think should be done for the best of everyone. We should really be getting feedback more often, I suppose, and as well as publishing things that we are doing so that people can see what things are happening. And if they want changes to happen, they can give in to that feedback that we are taking into account.
Thank you. Our fourth question here is, why are you running in this election? What reason or reasons have compelled you to place your name on the ballot?
I am running for the purpose of bringing changes that I think would be best for the union, as well as I think I would be a good negotiator for the UPass as well, because this is a renegotiation year. So this is actually one of the years when something can be done about it. And after taking into account that feedback, I hope to make changes that would keep as many people as possible happy.
Thank you. Our second last question here is, how would you like your term to be defined in 3 words? If you were elected to this position a year from now, reflecting on your term, what 3 words would you like to define your term?
Transparency, accountability, and integrity would be my top 3 to go for.
Thank you. And our last question here, which is somewhat similar, would be, how would you like the Umsu Board of Directors as a whole to be defined in a year from now if you were elected to this position?
One word comes to mind in particular, and it's involved. I think we're seeing good steps already so far, as there is a lot of candidacy, well, unprecedented amounts of candidacy, which is indicative of a healthy democracy, in my opinion. So I think that this year should be good for that, and I hope that my aspirations for the board amount to that.
I'm here with Caroline, who is seeking the position of Vice President for Finance and Operations in the upcoming annual Umsu general election. And so, Caroline, the 6 questions that we're asking each and every candidate, the first question is as follows. For those that don't know you, describe yourself. Who are you? What are your passions? And what motivates you?
All right, so for those of you that don't know me, my name is Caroline Wong. I am pursuing a Bachelor of Commerce honors degree with double majors in accounting and finance. I am set to graduate at the end of 2026, and I'm pursuing both a chartered professional accountant and a chartered financial analysis designation upon graduation. I'm very passionate about affordability, equity, diversity, inclusion, and student well-being. I've been involved on numerous clubs. I've been the president of a women's club at Asper, along with being a club executive on Active Minds, which is a club about mental health. I'm very passionate about mental health and ensuring that every student is able to afford their education at the university. And then I'm also very passionate about well-being. So I like to volunteer in my spare time. I volunteered at numerous places in the past, including at a food bank. I like to spend time with animals and friends, and I like to challenge myself by trying new things. I'm also very passionate about my culture as well. So for those of you that do not know, I am Chinese. I'm very passionate about celebrating and sharing Asian events with the student body at the University of Manitoba. I'm also very passionate about advocating for students and planning events that are affordable and accessible for all students. And I'm very motivated. I've been making new connections and meeting new people and learning new perspectives.
Thank you. Our second question that we're asking each and every candidate is, what makes you the ideal candidate for this position?
All right, so I am seeking a second term as Umsu Vice President of Finance and Operations. I'm the current incumbent of Vice President of Finance and Operations, and I would say that I have experience in all 3 levels of student government, from being a club executive to being a student council executive to being an Umsu executive of a union representing over 26,000 students at the University of Manitoba. I've also been in the role for almost a year as well, so I've seen the ins and the outs of the role, and I've also talked to so many students when I was serving as the Vice President of Finance and Operations in the past year. I understand what the students are going through and what they need, and I think that based on my involvement, I would be the ideal candidate. I'm also a student, a peer mentor, and a teaching assistant. I've also been on faculty discipline committees along with numerous initiatives, such as I was a counselor on ISBC. I was on the Holiday Hampers committee along with the finance committee. I've seen how finances and how money can impact students, and I really want to continue the work I'm doing. And I've also seen the challenges that most university students face and I've also heard about the challenges as well because I've talked to numerous students. I believe my experience and outgoing personality will help me in the position if I'm reelected.
Thank you. The next question is, what is the main pillar of your platform?
I would say that the main pillar of my platform is affordability. I know a lot of issues on campus stem from affordability and the access to money. For example, I read an article about the Manitoban from a few years ago about food insecurity and how many students are struggling with that. And I know when students are struggling that often leads to poor mental health along with other concerns as well that students are facing. I've seen firsthand how money can impact students, clubs, and events. As you know, I've been on all 3 levels of student governance. I've seen how so many students worry about paying the bills, tuition for their groceries, and etc., and that it causes harm to their mental health. I sit on both member service committee for Umsu and both finance committee as well. I also am involved in the Umsu hardship fund as well. So I've seen like how many students are struggling. So money specifically, or the lack of money, prevents students from being able to focus on their studies, especially right now with the international student working hours cap and inflation. Affordability is like a really big issue on campus. The lack of money really does affect student clubs and events as well. A lot of club executives have approached me and said that like with the current UMSU club funding, it has been the same for many years, and inflation is going up while the whole club funding amount is not going up, which means that in the past they were able to buy more and they were able to host more events. However, currently they are not able to host as many events as they would like to. So I think like my main pillar is affordability, addressing that. So many clubs are limited based on what they can do, and that really has a big impact on the student life at the University of Manitoba because of the lack of money. And then students are also prevented from fully participating because for a lot of events, sometimes they charge ticket prices, like for like example, $20 or like $40, and some students may not be able to afford it. I've also been pretty involved with helping like with initiatives about addressing funding. So for example, SU provides funding to the U of M Food Bank. I'm really passionate about that and making sure that for affordability that we are giving money to the food bank in a substantial amount as well so that all students will have access to food. So for my pillars, I'm planning to give more funding to students. For example, students, student clubs, student associations, and student groups on campus. Host more free food giveaways. This year I started the free food giveaway initiative and that worked really well. A lot of students were very satisfied with it and they said that like free food really does help them because like the food prices on campus, many students have found very expensive. And then more travel grants and more EDI initiatives. I know a lot of students after Lunar New Year that I planned, which was the first ever UMSU Lunar New Year. It was probably the only one held in UMSU history as well. The Lunar New Year event, a lot of Asian students, especially the East Asian students, were telling me that they felt represented for the first time and they were very glad to see other culture being celebrated. So I think more funding. My main pillar of my platform is giving more funding to students, more money for students, and not like more money into services that students don't necessarily use, but like more funding for students in general. I think like affordability is my main platform.
Thank you. Our next question is, why are you running in this election? What reason or reasons have compelled you to place your name on the ballot?
All right, so I'm rerunning in this election for a second term because I started so many initiatives in my first term, and I really want to see all these initiatives be permanently added into the initiatives that UMSU hosts for students. This year, I've been very focused on addressing food insecurity and the lack of affordability for students on campus. I've had a lot of students reach out to me personally asking for a job, telling me stories about how they're an international student and how the international student working hours cap has personally affected them. As we know, they're only, I believe it's 20 or 24 hours they're allowed to work off campus. And most of them have been telling me that it doesn't even cover their rent. It doesn't cover their tuition. Their tuition is like 3 times like the domestic students' tuition. So affordability has been a big concern. We've also seen how in a U of M article I remember seeing, from 2022 to now, there used to be around 100 or so students who would use the food bank. Now it's grown to 600. Which is a huge rise, and that really does show that like universities become really unaffordable for a lot of students. So I started free food giveaways, discounts at UMSU businesses, like 10% off and free pool for students, along 10% off of VWs, IQs, GPAs, etc. Along for hosting the first ever UMSU Lunar New Year. I want to see all these initiatives go on next year. Additionally, I started treasure training and had the pleasure of meeting many students and club executives who told me about the issue of affordability and how money is like preventing them from hosting all the workshops and from hosting all the events that they want to host for their students. And I know like money is a big factor. So I want to fix these issues before I leave office. However, with the processes of UMSU, as we know, the budget this year was not made by me. It was made by Vaibhav Varma, the former UMSU VPFO. we know that like the budget's made by the previous VPFO, which means that a lot of like the issues I wanted to address, I was not able to address in my first term because I didn't have full control along finance committee about my budget for Umsu. So I believe if I run for a second term, I will be able to make the budget increase student services funding to ensure that students' needs are being met. So that in the second term, if I am reelected, that I will be able to achieve all my promises that I promised the students last time I ran. And honestly, I think that the remaining 2 months isn't long enough to fully set these ideals and these initiatives into motion so that they are permanent for Umsu. So that's why I'm running for a second term.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And so our second last question here is, how would you like your term to be defined in 3 words? So if you were reelected for this position a year from now, at the end of that term, reflecting back on your term mandate with Umsu, what 3 words would you like to define or exemplify your term with Umsu?
I want my term to be affordable, accessible, and EDI focused. There's so many students with so many different backgrounds at the U of M. Some students come from money, some students have to work to put themselves through university, and university itself isn't very affordable for a lot of students, especially if you're paying for other stuff, like for example, your rent, your credit cards, your car payment, etc., like groceries. So I want to make sure that at the end of my term, that no student goes hungry. I've been really passionate about the food bank. I've been volunteering at the food banks over the years, and I've seen how like when students are going hungry, they can't really focus on anything else. Like for example, their academics or their personal life or their work life. They're really worrying about like when or how they're gonna afford like their next expense or their next meal. So what I saw in my high school is we had this like breakfast lunch program, and I really wanted to implement that at the U of M as well, where Umsu gives out like hot lunches every week, along with giving more funding to the UM food bank so that students are feeling supported. And I also want to be accessible as well. I want like students, club executives, along student association executives, and every Umsu member, along even community members, to feel comfortable to reach out to me about issues if they're facing any. Because I know this year there were some concerns regarding some of the club executives has told me that they didn't really feel comfortable reaching out to some other execs, so they reached out to me instead. I want to make sure that I am being accessible as possible so that every student feels comfortable to reach out to me. And then I want my term to be EDI focused, so equitable, diverse, and inclusive, so that every U of M student feels included in the programming that we do. Because I know like there's a lot of different perspectives. There's lots of different students from different countries, different places, all have different lived experiences, and I want everybody to feel included. This year, I think I was very successful in making students from Central and East Asia, who are traditionally very underrepresented in terms of events at the U of M, feel very included. A lot of the students were telling me that they were very glad to see the first ever Asian Lunar New Year, and that they were very glad to connect with other students who were from similar cultures and backgrounds to them, because I find like with a lot of U of M students, U of M is a commuter school at the end of the day. So it's very hard for students to make friends, especially if they want to make friends with students who have like similar interests, etc. It can be very hard. So I think like Umsu as the student union, it should be our duty to help students in that way so that students feel comfortable connecting with us and so that students can feel included in their union.
Thank you. And our very last question here, which is somewhat similar, would be, how would you like the Umsu Board of Directors to be defined using 3 words? So evidently, if you were reelected in this position, there is a certain level of collaboration that it would entail. So collectively, as a whole, the Umsu Board of Directors, that governing body, what 3 words would you like to define the board within a year from now?
Dependable, fair, and student-centered. I find this year with our Board of Directors, there have been some minor issues with some board members not showing up or not coming to committee meetings, which has had a significant impact on motions and on ideas being passed and discussed. I also want the Board of Directors to be fair to all students so that there's like no conflicts of interests. So that means that students are not like favoring like their friends in terms of like policies, and that they are being fair to everybody so that they're so that everybody has like equal chances to speak, everybody has equal opportunities and equal accesses. I'm really passionate about EDI, making sure that everybody has access to the resources that they need. And I want the Board of Directors to be student-centered. So putting students' needs first rather than like external parties, like for example, the U of M and MIN, or like, let's say the government or whatever. Like I want it to be, like I want the Board of Directors to focus on students and to make sure that students are being represented, they're getting the best services they're able to get, and to make sure that all students have access to the board of directors meetings.